by my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart.
Thanks for being here, man. I know that you've, had me on your stream just recently, just a couple days ago, and you're new to kind of at least PulseChain and Hex and some of the streaming. How long have you been streaming for?
So I've had many channels throughout, my YouTube. I'm not gonna call it a career, but you know what I mean. But I've tried different streaming, things like, I used to stream video games and things like that. Wasn't very successful, but I have a lot of experience, in the streaming / video creating field. And then, I've just been streaming and creating content for Hex over the past couple months. I've always wanted to ever since I got into it. But for a couple months, that's for the Hex wise. Awesome.
That's so cool. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see that there's more and more people stepping up to the plate. And like you mentioned, you've kind of had a little bit of the experience before. I did the same thing too. I used to stream, or at least videotape, capture card some of the video games that I was playing and stuff. But with Hex, it's so much more cool in my opinion, because there's a huge community. So you'd mentioned on the stream that we had done on your channel that I think you said it was your cousin that had onboarded you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that if you want.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna give him a shout out. It's In Tune with Hex, In Tune ATT on Twitter. He doesn't like to come on and all that kind of stuff, but I gotta give him a shout out. But yeah, basically we were at my grandma's. We were all over there, whatever. I don't really see him that often, and I was into all these shit coins. Like at the time, I was into Doge and SafeMoon, and I just had this pleb trading mentality that I wasn't doing much for me, and then when I was over there, he's talking about Hex, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of get persuaded pretty easy. Like, it's not really that hard to persuade me. So when he talked about it, I'm like, man, this sounds like a great opportunity. So I dumped all my SafeMoon, I dumped all my Doge, put it back in my bank, because SafeMoon's on the Binance chain. So to bridge, I don't know, I didn't know how to bridge at the time, so I just put it back into my account, bought some Hex, and then I did a 2-year stake at first. Everybody was like on Twitter, why didn't you stake for 15 years, you idiot? But I was only in the community for like 5 days at the time, and I didn't really know anything, because the more you even, it takes you like 4 or 5 times to read something to really understand it, or even more. And so I finally started clicking. And so I started, I was like, man, screw it. I have this mentality. I need to do a 15-year stake. I do a 15-year stake. So I have a 1-year stake, a 2-year stake, a 5-year stake, and a 15-year stake. And so, I have that mentality now, and he got me into that. So, I'm thankful for that, and to be a part of the community,
That's so cool. You had mentioned it was In Tune ATT on Twitter. And it's so cool, man. There's so many people that I follow that I usually recognize them by either their username or the profile picture. But shout out for him for kind of getting you on board, because you had mentioned being in it's not your first rodeo with crypto. But I think that there's so much, there's something that's so much more different with, say, not only the community that I would say that follows Richard Hart, but the actual tokenomics, the security, and just some of the stuff that's going on, I think is never really been done before in any other cryptocurrency. And it's kind of just like the new hot thing, if you will, but it's not hype. It's actually like legitimate.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's like I said, I haven't made any crazy gains yet, because I haven't been, in it for very long. But, I see the chart, and I see the chart of other coins. You look at Doge or SafeMoon or all that, and it's just, and then you look at the log chart on Hex, and for the past 2 years, it's done good. And with the tokenomic standpoint, with the staking aspect of the first CD on the blockchain and all that kind of stuff, it's yeah, man, it's a game changer, and it opens your mindset to different worldviews and opportunities and things like that. So
it's so true. We're actually, just since you had kind of mentioned it, and since it is relevant, let me just show with everyone. So yeah, this is just the Uniswap version 1, the full price history, and all of the pumpage that we've seen, and it's really awesome to see. You can see all the way since. Well, actually, Uniswap kind of came out like a couple weeks later, after Hex. So I think it doesn't have all the way until December 2nd. It looks like just December 15th. But like you had mentioned, I mean, you know, when you kind of just see, and I personally like to kind of zoom out and really look at where those longer term trends are going, when you kind of just pull down the price a little bit, and you can just see, I mean, just on a weekly basis, like that is straight up and to the right, you know. And I can't wait, man. I can't wait for everyone that's in it now. Can't wait for the people that sacrificed for PulseChain, for PulseX, to see some really mad gains. And you know, what an awesome experience.
Yeah, for sure, man. And dude, I'm super excited that, you know, Freedom TV you know, is coming out with the PulseCon 2022 in Vegas in September, so that'll be fun.
It's so true. You know, I actually just heard about that the other day, PulseCon 2022. I'm going to see if I can try and pull that up, because you're definitely right. I know, what is it, Barry and T Money, they're the ones that are kind of running that up. And yeah, I guess I can kind of share the screen real quick. 1 second here. Are you going to go to that one too?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, nice,
I mean, if the finances are there, you know, then yeah.
Right.
I hope they will be, you know, but I'm planning on it, definitely. Yeah.
Totally. Let me just make sure that the volume is muted. So I'm not actually going to play the volume, because usually that'll get me a copyright strike. I've learned that from some of the other videos. But yeah, like you mentioned, September 6th through the 9th, it looks like. And 2022, you can see they've got kind of like a huge, I guess, pulsecon2022.com is the website. But you know, how cool is that? And same thing with freedomtv.info. They're the ones that helped CryptoSparBoo do the little tour around the States. I mean, no other community that I've ever been a part of has such amazing people that are not expecting from others, but they're just doing it themselves and leading by example.
Yeah, I mean, I think that PulseCon is going to be bigger than the Hex conference, in my opinion, because of how just because of the amount of people that are being, you know, exposed to PulseChain, you know, versus, like Richard says all the time, it's just, for some reason, it's easier for people to get, I guess. And so there's a lot more community members in the Telegram and things like that. So they're both going to be big, but I mean, about PulseCon, it's probably going to go crazy. So
that's so true. It's awesome, man. I mean, I know Hex was really, like, as far as a maximum, it had like maximum gatekeeping, you know, but with PulseChain, there's something about, because Hex was free for Bitcoin holders that were doing the free claim, that had possession of it. But with PulseChain, instead of it just going to Bitcoin holders with all of that network, that Ethereum system state being copied over and forked over, I think that's really cool. And like you mentioned, there's going to be a whole bunch more people that haven't heard about it yet that will hear about it, whether it's the PulseCon or whether it's already been launched since then. I think we're going to see some really, you know, tremendous and kind of hyperbolic growth.
Yeah, dude, definitely. And you know, like we were talking about, how many new people are going to be able to be onboarded now and get into Hex. So like PulseChain, you know, that community is going to grow the Hex community as well with the exponential growth through onboarding. So that's going to be crazy too, you know.
It's true. You did mention something that I wanted to cover, because once again, it kind of goes to show you what this potential PulseChain can do, what PulseX can do. So we'll start off with PulseChain. The PulseChain Telegram has, let's see, 62,050 members. When I go into PulseX, we've got, it said just a second ago, like 39,000. Let's see how many. So about 39,000, a little bit more than that. And then with Hex, give me just a second, 38,070. So the PulseChain, the PulseX already has more members than Hex does, and the PulseChain has way more members than, say, Hex does as well.
And how long has the PulseX Telegram been out?
Exactly.
Not very long. How long has the
at all.
PulseChain Telegram been out? Like 6 months, maybe? So
true.
How long has the Hex Telegram been out? 2 years, maybe, you know? So it's just crazy. It's crazy. I guess it kind of is an IQ test. I don't know.
Well, and I mean, it's true. And once again, with like the maximum amount of gatekeeping, a lot of people, I mean, in crypto, you don't hear about stuff that has 100% uptime, that has 3 audits, right? 2 security audits, 1 financial audit. And Richard actually did say something in his stream today, which is that in crypto, people thinking that audits equal secure is kind of a fallacy, right? Because how many audits have we seen where there were tokens or chains? Once again, they had been audited, but they turned out to be rug pull or a scam or kind of like a Ponzi scheme. So that is one thing that he had mentioned that I think is important for people to consider, because a lot of people look at the metrics and they might just hear that, oh, we've got an audit, and then automatically think that everything is kosher.
Secure.
So
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it does help when people have audits, but
Totally.
but how far are you gonna trust something just because it has an audit? So Vegas wise though, this year for the Hex conference, man, I'm thinking about doing like a video, like bringing in like my camera and like just recording and documenting the whole thing and posting it. I feel like that'd be fun content for myself and for the viewers too, and especially for people that are there or don't get to go. I like recording stuff like that and just like making kind of vlogs out of it.
1000%, dude. I do the same thing. I mean, there's so much that I have that's not posted that I record just on like my day to day or kind of like just vlogs and stuff that, like you mentioned, I think would be cool for people that didn't go to Vegas, that they'd be able to see that. What kind of camera were you going to bring?
It's just a little one. It's one that I recorded some other stuff on. I don't know. It's not a DSLR or anything. Like
yeah, not like it has to be.
Yeah. I could even use my phone. I don't know, but
Sure.
Because the newer iPhones have okay camera quality, but I don't know specifically. But either way, I think it's gonna be really good. Because I have little like editing techniques that I do that like I don't know. I feel like the video is gonna be really good this year for the Hex conference. So, whenever I was watching that Hex Cadet Rewind video, I saw a bunch of stuff from the Hex conference, like the parties and stuff that I've never seen before. The Rewind, So, I don't even know what to expect for this year. I don't even know what to expect. I feel like I'm going to go into it with, pretty good expectations, but I feel like those expectations are probably going to be exceeded,
It's true. You had mentioned the Hex Cadet 2021 Rewind, which is funny because I was just going to ask if you had seen it. So, everyone should definitely go check that out. Hex Cadet has done a 2020, like a year of 2020 rewind, and same thing with 2021. So if people have like maybe just gotten into the community not too long ago, or you don't know, as we were talking about the other day, all of these people, all of these faces, well, the Hex Cadet 2021 rewind and 2020 rewind, they kind of do a good job of, just a big summary. And the one this year in 2021 was a lot longer than the one that we had in 2020. I thought that he did a really good job editing it. And you actually mentioned the, the footage of the Vegas and kind of like the vlog and content. One of the people that provided a lot of that footage, he's a Hexican as well, is Staked Wealth. And he's on YouTube here. And I think he's maybe in a couple other streams as well. But he's the one that kind of brought the little GoPro and did some of the editing. So I think that's awesome cool. That that you're going to do the same thing, because I should be doing the same thing, right? I've got some video footage and some photos and stuff of the last conference, but I think this year I'll just bring like a GoPro, and that way it's a lot easier. Yeah,
I just always like, for some reason I get some gratification out of like going back and watching a video of something that I did previously that other people get enjoyment out of. Well, like it's just fun to go back and watch stuff that you did and like just the experiences and stuff that's like captured forever, So that's really cool. And on that Hex Cadet point, like, it was a good video because I never got bored in all of it. It didn't even seem like it was 30 minutes, it was, I know, really, right? It really kept your attention, and it was, summed everything up really nicely for 2021. So yeah, it was really good, and can't wait to make that vlog, man. It's going to be cool.
It's true, man. I had a really good time last year, and once again, the the energy of the Hexicans in person, and now it's awesome because once again, last year it was just Hex. Didn't really know much about PulseChain other than the sacrifice phase was going to be starting somewhat soon, and so now you've got people that are in PulseX, in PulseChain, and in Hex. So once again, it's not just. When I usually say Hexicans and things like that, I'm generally referring to the other two communities as well, because they're kind of synonymous. But I think it's cool that like literally every year it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And RG3 with Discourse Syndicate, he was talking about that he could see in the future, however many years down the road, could see us like selling out stadiums and stuff like this. And it's like, how cool is that to think about, man?
Yeah, dude, it's awesome to think about, because like this year it's probably gonna seem like huge, but then like you just think like 10 years down the road when it's mass adopted and viral, like how big is it gonna be then? You know, it's crazy. If you're already freaking riding on tanks on the first one, what are you gonna be doing in the 10th one? You know, so.
Well, it's true. And I know that there was footage of so Big Kurkowski and Motley Investor that they had said that they had gotten some of the footage of they were shooting like I think like a heavy machine gun out of a helicopter. And because there's this thing called like I think it's called Battlefield Vegas, and you know you can shoot automatic weapons, and you know that's where they did the tank and things like this. But I think none of us got to see that footage, and I would love to kind of just, you know, do the same thing that they did, except get the footage, you know, and show it with everyone. So
is there footage?
Well, allegedly, but you know, once again, I don't know.
It might be on the highest stakes, maybe.
I was told that there was, and I don't know. But either way, it'll be kind of cool to see, you know, all of the footage that people come up with. And, you know, the thing that I'll be better about this year that I've learned from previous events, the Seattle one, the Vegas, is I can really get lost in conversation with people, and then, you know, other people are coming up trying to hang out. So I want to be better about like if people want to take a photo, which I want to take a photo with as many people as possible, then do it like ahead of time, you know, like take the photo real quick. That way you don't like forget about it later. Because there's a lot of people that I was like, oh, I met Naga and I met a whole bunch of these other people, but I didn't get a photo, you know?
Yeah, dude. And like I said, man, I'm gonna like fanboy out like on everybody, you know, it's gonna be crazy. And yeah, man, I'm gonna try to get a photo with every single person I can. I just like having, you know, all those memories and stuff to, you know, post online and have just for the future and stuff like that. It's just really cool.
Totally. Let me just say hi to the chat real quick, because once again, I did want to address any questions that they have for both of us or either of us, and you know, kind of little topic. So this one was done, you know, maybe 10 or 13 minutes ago. So want to say what's up to everyone. Thank you again for being here. So actually, let me click on it. So Average Trombone Player says, hey guys, how do you plan on reaching out to projects that want to launch on PulseChain? So I've heard, what is it? There's like a PulseChain, like Twitter storm, something like that. There's a couple different, you know, little campaigns and little marketing things that some people are doing. Personally, I haven't really led the front on that. I know that there's a lot of people that have gone into other communities, right? Whether it's Chainlink or Aave, you know, any of these ERC20s, and they've kind of gone into their Telegram, right? Their Twitter, and like, you know, tag them or those hashtags and kind of just asked like, hey, you know, do you guys know that you're going to be getting a free copy, right? On PulseChain that's going to be faster. You know, you've got free money as long as you know, have it in your possession, things like that. So he asked me that question. Completion Fail says, what's up, Ballietbran and Hexelement? This is going to be epic. Totally agree. Heavy Metal Hexagon says, Ballietbran, he was asking me if I was going to go to Vegas. I said yes. He says, hell yes, let's grab a drink or two or three when we get there.
Dude,
sure, man. yeah, exactly. I can definitely hold my weight. Oh yeah, Completion Fail says or 4 or 5. So definitely. He says, yeah, you're gonna have to join us. Let's do it. Just got off from work. What else do we got here? Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Arez says this year is gonna be insane. Heavy Metal Hexagon says once again, Barry is my dude, laugh my fucking ass off. Got that dude wasted in New York City. That's hilarious.
Oh my.
I'm enjoying this conversation. Hex Live, I'm pretty sure he's the guy that actually got Joe Hexotic into Hex, right? You had mentioned that you had heard about it from your cousin. I know that they're really good friends, that they're like best friends. Maybe Hex Live can corroborate that. But anyways, we've got some really cool people in here. And once again, if you've got like your friends or your family members that might be looking for like, you know, a good investment or can delay gratification and kind of hold for the future, I mean, what we've already seen with Hex, that under 2 years and 10,000x price appreciation, I think that's kind of just the beginning. So that's really awesome that everyone here right now is in so early.
Yeah, in just a couple months, man, it'll be even easier to onboard. So that's good.
Dude, it's so cool. Have you played with any of the testnet version too?
I haven't. I have MetaMask, and I know how to do it. And well, actually, I have. Well, couldn't you test it in V1?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So you can test it in V1. I know that there was from V2 to V, or from V1 to V2, you had to do the same thing again, where you have to like delete the PulseChain test network completely, and then add it as like a new RPC, because there's different settings, right? There's things like that. So
I mean, yeah, the first one I did play around with it, but I don't use MetaMask as my wallet, so
right.
So I didn't really see like too much of a point for me personally messing around with it, but I did just because it's cool. It was cool to learn about it and see how it would look, and just stuff like that. But yeah, I messed around with it a little bit.
Nice. No, it's awesome. Once again, you mentioned like a couple of months, and Richard had mentioned that there's not going to be like a specific time, right? We'll kind of know a little bit more once that snapshot range for the hard fork is announced. But he had mentioned like different, incremental steps. So one of the steps was like the bridge, right? For testnet V2. One of the steps was a working front end for go.hex.com/stake, right? And so I was messing around with V2 a little bit, and was doing a stake, was ending a stake, as I was saying on your stream the other day. And dude, it's so fast. And especially you mentioned with, having Staker app and the Gnosis safe, like it's just going to be so much easier for a one-stop shop for people to just, click a few buttons on their phone and kablam, they're staked. Yeah.
And it was crazy to me how much Ethereum wallets are costing right now for the Staker guys to open. It's crazy.
Well, it's true. And, you mentioned the cost of, being able to front that. And that's coming out of, their pockets, their Hex gains, or whatever gains, right, that they front loaded. And I think it's awesome, because they say in business, like the cost of acquisition and the cost of new customers is generally what costs more than just retaining, old customers, or the old customers putting in more money than, say, a new customer. So it's awesome that we're having something that's going to actually make it feasible. Because you mentioned whether it's, I don't know, whether it's $100, $200 right now on Ethereum, just to get started, just to swap. That's a huge barrier to entry that is just unrealistic if you want virality and mass adoption and things like that.
Yeah, and these guys on the tour, they're opening people wallets, that are new. They're opening them wallets and getting them 5,000, or it's 555 Hex, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's not cheap. So it's really, but it's a good thing. It's awesome that they're doing that. It's just crazy money that PulseChain's gonna fix. So.
Yeah, it's so true, man. I mean, even if we look at 5,555 Hex at today's price, $1,320. And as you mentioned, for every single tour that they're doing, every single conference that they're setting up, one lucky winner is getting that. So, I mean, and especially if they stake it, the one that we had here in Seattle that I went to, so I brought a couple of friends, and one of my friends, they won. So this is the Hex hat that Casey made. Casey the Hexekin, I think his name is. In Vegas, in the back, there's just that little thing. But the one that they had for the freedomtv.info, the Hex conference, it's the same hat, but just has, the logo. And they won a hat for free. And anyways, I think that that's really cool, because, we talked a little bit about it, whether it's merch or anything else. It's just spreading the word more day by day.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I'm reading some of these comments in chat, and people have some good questions coming up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me just fly past them, because once again, I did kind of stop in the middle.
Blazing all day, man. Vegas.
Hey, gotta love it. I'll be partaking too. Crypto Bag says, "What's up, guys? Just got here. Nice to see you. Hex Cadet's video is on point. I totally agree. I don't know what he does for a living and profession, but dude, that guy's a damn good video editor, and it's awesome to see that, hey, in a community, you don't have to hire You don't have to outsource, I guess, like hire from outside of the community. You can kind of, from within and, kind of still work deals with people. But it's awesome to see how much talent that there is. Hex Cadet did a really good video. Second, let's just see what else we got here. Heavy Metal Hexagon. My co-host and I were planning on doing a video out at the conference. Anyone and everyone should come hang out. I totally agree. I'll be there. We'll see you there. That would be sick. Selling out stadiums. It's true. We're so early that people ask if they're late because once again, they've heard of the 10,000x. But once again, just think of that perspective of Bitcoin doing a 6.9 million times return from a penny, millionfold. And then just think about Hex has just done a 10,000x and what it's designed to do and where it can go and how many people are in Hex compared to other cryptocurrencies. It's just all room to grow. If you want an idea of the growth of the community, just look at how many new followers Richard Hart has on his Twitter and his YouTube alone. He did mention 1,000 new followers on Twitter per day and 500 on YouTube per day. And I know his Instagram channel, he didn't really have it much before, but it's starting to grow. Heavy Metal Hexagon. So he's asking a question to both of us. So he's saying, Ballietbran and Hexelement, how do you guys feel about more famous people entering the Hex space? I'll just say real quick, I think it's amazing. I think that, I hear some people saying that, the caliber of people that are coming in should have this kind of IQ or this kind of, requirement. And it's like, no, dude, the more the merrier. And the product really does sell itself. And, you don't have to be a genius to drive a car, right? But everyone drives a car these days. So I think it's good. What do you think?
Well, there's two sides to that. They can either shit on Hex and turn people away from it and have a huge audience, or they can take it in and love it and spread that love to their whole audience. So for the most part, I would say it's a great thing, but it could also be a little bit of a bad thing, but for virality standpoint, it'd be a great thing for famous people entering Hex.
Well, yeah, and that actually is kind of interesting because, Richard he talks about this a lot, but almost like that, what is it, like no press is bad press type of deal. Like all press is good press, even if it is bad and stuff, because because that's how I found about Richard. Someone was crap talking him and they were slandering him. Mm-hmm. And so there's got to be, even if someone is like defaming him and things like that, there's got to be a few that do ask themselves that question or that do verify instead of trusting. So I agree, man. The pendulum can swing both ways. Mm. Let's see what we got here. I'll try and go down the comments a little bit more quickly. Hex Ninja Turtle. Hey, Brand. Good to see you, mate. What's up, Hexelement? Good vibes. Every day is a great day to be a Hexagon. Man, just earning that trustless yield and understanding that it's almost like owning a business, except there's no overhead. You're not paying those electricity bills, things like this. It just works every single day, 100% uptime, right? If you have employees, they might be calling in sick, and guess what? You might not be earning as much revenue that day. So I think it's awesome that each T-share or shares in general are part of the inflation, and as people say, kind of like a money printer. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, what's up, Ninja Turtle? What's up, Hex Ninja Turtle? But yeah, dude, good vibes only, man. Great day to be Hexagon.
So true. We've got David. I haven't seen him in the chat before, so welcome, David. Once again, everyone, go in the description, follow Hexelement, and subscribe to him on Twitter. We need to get everyone's numbers up as much as possible between each other. He says, I am having the hardest problem wrapping my head around where the money comes from with these PulseChain copies once mainnet launches. Ethereum bridge brings the money. So here's the thing. So that's a really good question. And yeah, people say like, oh, you can't just like copy the money because wouldn't you have like a dilution? Even though you're getting a copy, well, where's the rest of the value going to come from? And the answer, someone like Jess Pitby, I think could really answer this well, but it's all about the liquidity pools at the end of the day. And so since the actual whole Ethereum system state is coming over, that also includes the liquidity that is in those pools at the time of the hard fork, the snapshot, right? And so that's what derives the value is the liquidity in Hex right now, whether it's the small amount based versus Ethereum or whether it's the majority based versus USDC. That's what really brings the value is the pair on both sides. So that will all get copied over on Pulse Chain, and I think that's going to be where a lot of the value comes over. You mentioned also the bridge as well. That's something that's really cool to see, is that people will be able to bridge their money from Ethereum into Pulse Chain and have a cheaper, faster experience.
Won't everything start from zero too, or no?
Yeah, so exactly. And it's awesome the way that Richard really thinks about this stuff in the future. But so yeah, that's what's going to happen. He had mentioned that the first 2 days, so the actual main net itself will be launched, but the bridge that, you know, is that 1,000 flowers blooming at once that Richard uses as an analogy, that bridge itself won't actually go into effect until maybe, he said, 24 to 48 hours later. And once again, that's to establish that, hey, this is trading at a $0 value technically. People are going to be able to, at that $0 value, which is just a ratio of, say, Hex to USDC, right? You know, 4 Hex per USDC, etc. But you'll be able to trade without the bridge, before the bridge, at, you know, kind of like a $0 value, but you'll still be, you know, getting the other side of that ratio. So it's once the bridge comes in, that the second that happens is when, you know, it'll start having a price, and, you know, that'll be awesome to see.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, average trombone player. He's shouting out your cousin. Says,
is that a compliment?
Looks like a Chad, or sounds like a Chad. I think so. I think Chad's kind of like,
yeah,
in the red pill community, it's kind of like, you know, badass and cool guy. I mean, you know, you'd call Richard a Chad, or yeah, you know, so I think so. That's awesome. Oh yeah, so Hex Live does confirm. He says, yep, Joe is my onboard. So once again, you know, people that are bringing in their friends, their family, their loved ones, etc. It's really cool. Funding Jim talks about this, where if you give a gift to someone, they don't really appreciate it as much, especially if it's something like Hex. But if you kind of teach them about it and they really understand it themselves, then they really can understand it a lot more and have value equated with it a lot more than just having, you know, been given it for free.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you see any questions that I had about all of them? Did
well,
you see any of them?
You know, Hex Live says that it's going to be great meeting us in person, which I agree, man. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. You know, and then Crypto Bags wants to talk about liquid loans, which we can do that, you know. I mean, there's opinions that I have, you know. I think it can be a good and bad thing, you know. You can get totally screwed if the price goes down. You cannot pay what you loaned, you know. So I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I know a handful of people have asked me about it, and I know Brandon from Rags to Riches is actually doing an interview right now with Alex, who's the founder of Hedron. And actually, I guess it just ended a minute ago. But you know, because some people have asked, and I've kind of considered it before. But you know, I'm especially with some of these other things, and it's not like I have doubt per se, but I'm kind of just waiting for it to launch and to be in existence first, right? And play with it a little bit before, you know, I talk about things like that, right? Because that's usually what I do, is talk about things when they're actually live. And like Richard mentions, once they have audits, etc. So that's always the route that I've liked to take. I've talked with both of the guys before, and you know, I think it's awesome that people are building on Pulse Chain. And once again, the more people that do build on Pulse Chain and add tremendous value allows for a community to come within.
Yeah, for sure.
Frankie says, relax, says, I'll be in Vegas. No one knows me, but I'll be there. Ha. Awesome. We'll be awesome to see you, Frankie.
Or
exactly.
Or not, man. Sorry.
But, totally. No, it'll be awesome to see Frankie and everyone else. Once again, it's unique because you'll have this too where I mean, you know, people usually kind of recognize each other by like you'll hear a lot of people calling you like, oh, hey, Hexelement. And you know, it's unusual at first because you're like, I don't know, I guess just not used to, you know, them kind of knowing you, but vice versa, you not knowing them. And it's a cool experience, man. Every person that I've met, whether it was in Vegas or outside of Vegas, in Seattle or in person, was a really good experience. So I look forward to meeting everyone.
Yeah, for sure, man. It'll be awesome.
We got Empty Coiner. We've got Rango. Once again, Hex Ninja Turtle. Crypto bags. The launch of PulseChain is going to be such an amazing event. I agree. Once again, we talk about that hey, PulseChain currently has, what was it, like 62,000, I believe, when I checked the Telegram. And that's just the people that have heard about it already. But how many people haven't heard about it, right? Once that chain actually launches and people start hearing that they've got a duplicate of their NFTs, of their ERC20s, etc., they're going to be rushing in to find out, like, how do I interact with this duplicate? And then when they find out that, hey, it's the exact same code, the same private keys that you use to access your ERC20s will be the same that access the PRC20s. All of that is really just going to be like massively viral. And I think we're going to see the community numbers jump up significantly from there.
Yeah, like the Twitter Spaces along with the PulseChain airdrop are like bringing different communities like all together, and in turn, then they're gonna know about Hex now. So, so yeah, it's just all good for everything. It all coincides great,
Well, and you mentioned Twitter Spaces, and I mean, both of us stream on YouTube, and Richard says a lot where, hey, go where the fish are, go where the attention is, right? When you compare, say, something like DLive to YouTube or DLive to Twitter Spaces, well, is all of the attention at DLive? No, you want to go where the attention and the eyeballs are. So, I mean, YouTube is already pretty heavily like inundated, and we've got a lot of streamers, which is awesome. We could always use more, but same thing as well as far as branching out, right? I see a lot of people, Super Hex Win, he does really good for like TikTok. But then when you mention Twitter Spaces, dude, that's untapped potential that, these people that would have never heard about Richard or PulseChain, they do hear about it because they're on Twitter Spaces. So if we can kind of like host some of the Twitter Spaces or join other people's and then let them know the knowledge that we have and benefit that we can provide to them, I think they'll kind of come on board.
Yeah, man, I get random notifications all the time on Twitter Spaces, about just different crypto stuff, like NFT talk, all this other stuff. And, and they're probably getting the Hex Spaces, getting their, notifications on their phone and listening to it and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, there's some kind of algorithm going on there that, which is good. So
true, man. Falcon Crypto says, Bran, where do you get your merch from? So these two I actually have in the description, the little pendants. That's from shapeways.com. Once again, they're both in the description. Where I pretty much get all my shirts. So I've got the brown and kind of like yellow coat that you were asking me about the other day. That was cryptowears.xyz. And then the rainbow one, same thing. But then as far as this shirt and pretty much every other shirt was just Amazon, to be honest. But yeah, you can also go to hexmerch.com. There's a whole bunch of merch everywhere. Cool. Zero value at launch. Let's go, Brandon. So let's get back into a little bit of let's go back to a little bit of of some of your story. I mean, you mentioned, hey, your cousin had gotten you in to Hex, told you a little bit about it. When did you first get into crypto? What was kind of some of your experiences there? How was your time when you first found out about crypto?
Yeah, for sure, man. So I've heard about Bitcoin since like 2013. Like, I'm only 21, so I was born in 2000, Gen Z, so nice, I was only 13. Like, sure, I knew about it, but was I really into it? Not really. I've known about crypto since 2013. I saw like some people that I knew started mining and stuff like that. Just with their, POS computers and stuff that they could use at the time,
Yeah.
But, I started actually getting into it probably about a year ago, honestly. And, that's when I was into all these, I have this friend on Snapchat or whatever that he would always post these, these coins that are going to have this high return rate that are worth 0.000000048, and make 1,000% and then dip out because it's going to dump, and all that kind of stuff. So, I was into all that, like I say, Doge, SafeMoon, all this other kind of stuff. And then, I was only in that for like 6 months until, I heard about Hex. And ever since then, man, it's been history with the whole Hex stuff. And then like I said, I got out of that shit. and now we're in the Hex stuff. So it's great, and I don't see myself investing in Doge ever again. So that's good.
No, that's cool. And you bring up a really important topic, which is whether it's stocks, whether it's a whole bunch of things. People usually, what they kind of hear from word of mouth, or like you mentioned with Doge and some of these other things. A lot of those things really are hype and really are what Richard calls like vaporware, where it's like, okay, you do a really good job marketing it, but what's behind the curtain? What's the code say, etc. Because you mentioned one of those, which is a fork of proof of weak hands, which takes a tax, like a 10% tax in and a 10% tax when you sell, when you exit, and that's what they call hourglass games. But I think it's cool that you've found some of the gems within the whole pile of non-gems, let's just say.
What's crazy to me, man? Like how hard like shit coins are advertised and on these big exchanges, man. Like let's just talk about SHIB or even Dogecoin. It's like I see these ads on TikTok. I mean, you see ads everywhere for them, and it's just crazy to me how Hex and things like that aren't. It's like somebody just really doesn't like it, and they're like they have like this control saying, nope, you're not gonna be on our stuff, and it's just crazy to me. Like I saw this tweet that said like 1 billion sacrificed and nobody's talking about it, like influencer wise or things like that, and that's true. And it's like it's crazy how much good is being done, and no one's putting it anywhere really. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, you look at Balaji, or it's like Balaji, I think, something like that on Twitter. He he talks a little bit about crypto and longevity, and Richard had mentioned same thing with this guy, like I don't know what the other guy's name is, but there's a couple of guys specifically in crypto Twitter and in that ecosystem that talk about like, oh, longevity and we're philanthropic, etc. And Richard called them out. Like I've got a clip on my channel, something Balaji calls out Balaji, but it's disgusting. Like you mentioned, the lack of advertising that we've seen from whether it's, I mean, Ivan at least has had Richard on, but things like BitBoy, where some of these people might participate and then just never talk about it. Like he mentioned, I sacrificed for PulseChain, but I'm not going to talk about it. And some of these opportunities with say Hex, PulseChain, PulseX, it's a shame that more people aren't hearing about it from their favorite influencers, because their favorite influencers are participating. When you look at the $27 million for PulseChain that was raised to Sen's Foundation, well, that's what Richard was saying was not a peep from Balaji and this other guy. So talk about hypocrisy on its finest level.
It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy.
It's true. Let me come back to the chat here and just kind of intertwine some of the chat with our little conversation here. Any advice for upcoming Hex influencers? My co-host and I just did our first show and had massive support from big names. Heavy Metal Hexakin, if you want to put your show or your link in the actual in the chat section, I'll share it and subscribe, because I haven't seen that. So please let us know. But I guess, do you have any advice for up and coming Hexakins or people that they might want to start participating and joining streams or making videos? Anything that you got?
Yeah, you might think that you don't have anything to talk about, but I promise you do. Like even though I just started a couple months ago, I always had these things in my head, like I need to do straight informational content, and it needs to be short and sweet, and I need to put it out there. And once I've already talked about Hex, once I talked about Pulse, then what else do I have to talk about? Well, that's not really the way to think about it. You have a lot of different ideas and thoughts on these different topics, and trust me, if you just get on and start talking about things that you want to talk about, or if you see something on Twitter and you want to talk about it, or YouTube, or what Richard says, write it down or something, bring it up in something, and you'll have a lot to talk about. And most importantly, don't be afraid to do it, you know, because whether it be nervous of being, you know, like insulted or whatever, you know, don't worry about that, because you're doing the world a favor and you're trying to make it a better place. So yeah, so just spew out whatever you have to say, because trust me, somebody's listening and will appreciate it.
It's so true. You know, we talked about this a little bit, I think, on the stream that we did on your channel, but it's so easy to like get in your own head and, you know, have that self-doubt and like, and wonder, kind of like you mentioned, like, oh, you know, maybe some of this was covered before, or I feel like I don't have anything that's like new and original and creative to say. And it's like, man, I mean, I don't think that's necessarily true at all. One thing that Jeff Crypto Kindness and I were talking about is that we really learn, you know, someone might be able to learn better from you than they might be able to learn better from me, even though we might be saying the same thing, right? Your style of communication might just come off a little bit better. And so if you think about that same thing with people that are just coming on board, you hear a little bit of perspective that maybe someone that is an OG or whatever, or has been in it for a while, maybe they're not considering that point of view. So I think that's really valuable for people that have been in it for a while, or people that want to know more, or people just getting into it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Let me come back to the chat here. Seat Crypto says, I should have started streaming about a year ago, but so much going on. I'll be streaming soon. Awesome. Yeah, you're definitely welcome on the channel anytime. As far as Heavy Metal Hexagon, I'll you know, copy your Twitter name in just a second.
I just looked him up. He has 18.5K followers on Twitter. That's crazy.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Let me I had it saved here. Let me give him a follow real quick too. Yeah, that's cool. I once again, I love the passion of, hey, it's not just all hex and stuff. Like, you know, his name is Heavy Metal Hexagon. I think it's so cool how much a lot of us really share in common.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, all sorts of different, you know, walks of life all come together and like have this common, you know, I don't even know what to call it, thought, I guess, you know, but yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I'm actually going to, so I just subscribed to him, and I always turn on the notification bell for everyone too, but let me put this in the YouTube chat. Oh yeah, cool. Benny, I think Benny beat me to the punch. So shout out to you, Benny. Thank you for doing that. Gotta love, you know, being able to, you know, post that link for everyone else once again to subscribe. So let me, I guess, just stop sharing there. Yeah, I think that's awesome. And it's awesome to see the momentum too, right? Where you and I were talking about this the other day, but when I first started streaming, I mean, you know, maybe one or two people were watching. And maybe after the video had uploaded, or once it was done streaming, I don't know, like 15, maybe 30 viewers at most. But it's cool to see that it, just like with price appreciation or anything else, as you continue to do it consistently and delay the gratification, it'll start ramping up.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely will. You know, what I've learned in the past is that I am terrible usually with consistency when it comes to, like, you know, my other YouTube channels and stuff. But then again, I've never been as passionate about something as I am with, you know, cryptocurrency when it comes to Hex and stuff. So I'm just gonna try to stay on my grind, be consistent, and it'll just grow from there, you know.
It's true, man. Yeah, and Hexologist gave me this recommendation when I was first getting into streaming, because I didn't really have any consistency. It was kind of just like when it was convenient for me, or when I thought it would be, you know, when my schedule was available to start streaming. And, you know, him and I were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, dude, you know, even if you do, like, because he was doing it every single day for I think 572, something like that, 572 days. But anyways, I started it with like, dude, I know, it's insane. So I started off with like one video per month, one stream per month. And then it kind of just, you know, evolved from there with what worked best for my schedule. And, you know, now it's once a week. But even the other channel is one video per month on Surviving Hexagon. Man,
you're like the news channel at Hex. I'm telling you, I'm always seeing you upload some stuff.
Well, dude, there's just so much going on. And like, you know, I know Brandon with Rags to Riches and a couple other guys, they joke about like, Bran, you're in these other people's chats, and it's almost like you got virtual assistants, and I don't, but it's a damn good idea. Get some extra stuff going on there. So Crypto Bag says, this is why Ballietbran is the dude, shows all the support. Heavy Metal Hexagon saying thank you for the subscribe. He says, dude, you are the best. I can't wait to have you on the show. Hexelement, you as well, brother. So that's awesome. Once again, there's just so many people literally all around the world. I've seen Hexagon streamers from Africa, Australia, all of the different countries, it seems. So how cool is that it really is global and it really is worldwide.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy how much is growing, but hey, good. Love that it's growing. Totally.
Well, so I guess we can kind of, wrap up a little bit with, say, like PulseChain and PulseX. So you had found out about Hex. You had mentioned around maybe July, something like that, a handful of months ago.
Yeah, I got it at 7 cents.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. Well, and it's so cool to think that, we're all going to get a copy, whether it's the amount that we have liquid currently, non-staked, or whether it's the stakes that we have, so the shares. But it's so awesome to think that the snapshot for the hard fork hasn't even happened yet. So as long as people are still holding for when that is, Richard said he would give a range that we're all going to get like a buy one, get one free, like a 2-for-1 copy on a better, faster, cheaper network.
Yeah, exactly. That's all. You don't even need another point. There you go.
No, dude, it's true, man. I think that with a lot of the stuff that's going on with Ethereum, I've heard some people say that they think that like Ethereum 2.0 is going to be like 6 years away. And if someone could corroborate that and give me like a link or where Vitalik said it, I'd love to put that in here or talk about that. Because for me, it seems that they keep kind of just delaying it a little bit. Like, oh, the first part of Ethereum 2.0 will be done in 2022 and second part in 2023. But you look at what Richard's doing with PulseChain and some of these other things that is already beating ETH 2.0 to the punch. Why would people be waiting for the other network to slowly convert, to slowly change proof of work to proof of stake when they've already got a free copy over here,
Yeah, 100%, man. It's gonna be crazy. Like I said, man, I cannot wait. And it's all not theoretical, but it's it's only in our heads right now. And when it actually comes to fruition and actually releases and we can like fully see it, it's just gonna be a constant state of euphoria, man. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah,
it's so true. See Crypto, who's asking
super
me,
chat, man.
Yeah. Let me cover that in just a second. See Crypto is saying like, oh, hey, do you remember me from Vegas? And I was saying I don't, but we'll have to take a photo when we see each other next. Cool. Okay, yeah, let's get to the super chat. Thank you for doing this. So it's D Addison says, hey, Bran, this is Dom, the co-host of, and I've seen his profile picture before. Dom, the co-host of Heavy Metal Hexagon. At Completion Fails turned me onto your shit. Love the content. We'll have to get you a shirt. That's awesome. That would be really cool. I love getting free stuff. Richard talks about, he had said, and Hexologist kind of told a little story about this, but Richard says, because you don't get wealthy by just giving everyone your money, and you don't become a billionaire by, splurging and kind of wasting money. And Richard mentions, he's like, man, I love going to dinner with Hexicans because they always pay for the dinner and I get to eat for free. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Damn, I got to pay for a shirt now. I'm kidding. That's funny.
But yeah, Hexologist, he was telling a little story where, he had taken Richard to lunch and the waiter or waitress sets the check on the table and Richard's like, thanks, Hexo. And so I think it's so cool that like, man, I mean, yeah, like whenever I meet Richard, if I get that same opportunity, you better believe I'd be paying for the meal and no questions asked. I mean, after the creations that he's done, the opportunities with PulseChain and PulseX, I think that's the least I could do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild ride.
Completion Fail says Hexo is the GOAT. I didn't know this for, I don't know, maybe until last year, but I used to think, why the hell are they saying GOAT? You know, what's this have to do with that? Thought it was something else, but I guess it just means greatest of all time. So gotta learn with the lingo. So true. Let's see. Dom is the GOAT. Hexelement, come on the show. We'll work something out. LOL. Awesome.
Talk about my shirt.
Great. Yeah, exactly. I'll consider coming on when you get me a shirt.
Shirts, man. Falcon
Crypto says, Ballietbran, part of ETH 2.0 will be launched in June. That's what I was saying, 2022, 2023. But will not do much for the fees. But yes, some of the bigger parts like sharding is years away. Well, and it's true. And like, here's the thing. I mean, they've been talking about Ethereum 2.0 since like 2017. And it's just like Cardano or some of these other things where it's like, you know, once again, delayed. You thought like 4 more weeks or 2 more months was a meme. I think a lot of those are quite memes too. And it's not discounting what they're doing, going from, say, proof of work to proof of stake, which is what ETH 2.0 is. That's no easy accomplishment. And if anything, that's a lot harder going from proof of work to proof of stake versus what Richard is doing, which is just starting at proof of stake.
Yeah, definitely. And it's easy because you're literally just being able to like pretty much, I don't want to say it in a bad way, pretty much take the code, you know, and switch a few things and hey, start it up, you know. So it's crazy. It's going to be great.
So true. We'll cover a couple more comments. There's one last thing that I will want to cover as far as, okay, you know, what the sacrifice has done for Hex's liquidity, as far as the amount of Hex that's been taken off the market, I think is absolutely amazing. We'll cover that in just a second. I did want to cover a couple more comments, and then I guess we'll kind of just wrap up here. Seek Crypto says, I'll be at the conference this year. Awesome. I'll make sure to take a photo with you this time. Maybe we'll do a little video. The Addison says, I'm trying to get a charity boxing match with Maddie Allen. Let's make it happen. That's cool. I think it's so interesting that, I mean, outside of, you know, the crypto suggestion that you just mentioned, that there's people that are popular, like YouTube influencers, quote unquote, that now are doing boxing. And it's such an interesting thing because it's like, yeah, you know, they do kind of have a lot of reputation and stuff like that on the line, but never would have thought to see that kind of pivot personally.
Dude, I get it. I'm just trying to picture Maddie like fighting somebody in the ring, man. That'd be hilarious.
That is true. I hope it's the same weight class. Rango says, do you have any Pulse and PulseX price predictions? So the thing that I will say is, I would say that probably why couldn't it do something that Hex has done, right? I mean, Hex is inflationary. We know that some of its max inflation is delayed because it's paid to stakers, which have an average of 6.0208 years. But with something like PulseChain, with something like PulseX, they're completely deflationary. And so with PulseX, Richard mentioned it's not a guarantee because of securities laws. But take a look at what the address that's getting the fee from PulseX. Take a look at their wallet and see if they do end up doing the buy and burn. Once again, he can't guarantee, but I don't see why it couldn't do a 10,000x. Let's just be conservative with what Hex was designed for, which was what Ethereum did, which was 2.5 years. So if it does it in 2 years, if it, you know, has anything close to a 10,000x in 2.5 years, I think a lot of us will be in really good positions.
Definitely, especially, you know, the ones that got in and sacrificed. I mean, even if you didn't sacrifice, you're still going to be able to get it pretty cheap whenever it comes out, you know, compared to if it was like, you know, 30 cents or something. So, you know, it's you didn't totally miss out, right, if you didn't sacrifice, but sacrificing was the best way to get in general for the cheapest. But, you know,
yeah, that's so true. And, you know, I'll be honest, I did this a little bit with PulseChain, where I had sacrificed with some friends. We had gotten a pretty damn good volume bonus, but then I had sacrificed on some separate wallets, just because I had wanted for my own. And then I did the same thing with PulseX, where in Chuck, I'll get to you in just a second. Nice to see you, bro. But anyways, with PulseX, dude, I did the same thing the other day. May or may not have sacrificed yesterday, just because I knew that, hey, okay, the bonding curve is really taking effect, and if I was going to do any more, then I needed to do it right then and there versus waiting any longer. We can see what the actual bonding curve is. So once again, with PulseChain, definitely don't sacrifice. You're gonna have that bonding curve just totally work against you. But for something like PulseX, I mean, PulseChain was the same, where 10,000 points for $1. But now, since the bonding curve is kicking in, you can see that it just lapsed. Now you've got 10,000 points per $1.48. So that goes up very, very quickly. And if people are on the fence and things like that, make your decision quickly, because this number can really work against you.
Facts.
Awesome. We'll say what's up to Chuck, cover that last website, and then get on going. Chuck Ray says, always a great positive force brand. I'm just an old killer who loves Hex at OTC off ramps. LOL. Awesome to see you, Chuck. I know we've got a lot of military based Hexicans, and he's told me about a couple of his stories, and I know RG3 and some of the other guys got some cool stories. So that'd be cool to hear maybe one day, like just a whole bunch of the Hexicans, just like you have the Hex Aussies and stuff like that, to kind of hear some of the people's stories and things that aren't just specifically Hex related, but things that people share in common. I think that would be similar to what Funding Jim talks about, which is cross promotion and talking about what you're passionate about. Okay, this was the very last thing I wanted to cover, and then once again we'll share your channel at the very end again for people to follow and subscribe. I'm hoping that we can start getting some of those numbers going up, and getting more people that click the notification bell, so that way they can comment and like your videos when they come out.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Of course, dude. Yeah, once again, it's A-Bit Hex Allen, he talks about this, that the most powerful thing that we can all do, especially since we're a community, we're working together towards the same goal, right? To pump our bags, to help others, to get people in this. Well, then why wouldn't someone be sharing every single bit of content of people that are on board, that are in a similar state of mind with what their goals are? I think that's like the best thing that we can do, is people retweeting others and liking and commenting on their streams. Yeah, for sure. I agree 100%. So this was the last thing I wanted to kind of cover. So this is really, really unique, where people, they look at the Hex supply and they say, they kind of do it from like from almost like an ignorant basis or standpoint, where they might just look at the supply and they say, oh, Hex has 660 something billion, total supply. Like, oh, that'll never go to $1, all of these different fallacies. And so you look at its actual circulating supply versus what's sacrificed and what's staked, and you've got 462.31 billion. And then how much of that is actually owned by, people versus by whales or possibly OA daughter addresses that, might never ever sell or let, that Hex be sold into. I think that that's really cool. When we look at, say, PulseChain, and this is what I wanted to do a video on last night, but I can just clip this part. So we look at what PulseChain did, and it was either the last day or two. I'm pretty sure maybe, you might have been surprised when you saw this. Were you surprised when you saw the OA sacrifice for PulseChain? No, not really. Okay, yeah, that's good. Not really, because, I really don't have many expectations on what's going to happen, but no, I wasn't really surprised. That's good, man. I know some people, they might have once again been kind of, maybe done a little bit of research, and then when they see those big numbers in the OA sacrificing, they might be, kind of curious of what's going on. And I would say that this is going to be very similar to Hex, or Richard mentioned on big payday, the analogy of the De Beers diamonds, where, hey, even though if all of the supply were to be on the market and not held by large bag holders, then the value of diamonds would not be very expensive at all, because the supply would be diluted. But you've
Right.
got something similar with PulseX, with PulseChain and Hex, where it's like, there's big whales and OA daughter addresses that just won't part and won't let that be sold into.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing though, It's awesome.
So yeah, that was just the last thing I'd wanted to cover, was that, hey, we've got 113.14 billion that was sacked for PulseChain, but when we go to PulseX.com, the actual sacrifice phase officially ends February 25th. And so we've got, about like a month and 9 days until that happens. And so not only do we have over $1 billion sacrificed between ERC20s and the other layer one chains, but how much, why wouldn't the OA daughter addresses be doing the same thing that it did with PulseChain? So I'm curious to see how much Hex they might sacrifice for, say, PulseX, if that happens towards the last couple of days.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to watch, definitely, because there's already been over 500 million Hex be sacrificed for PulseX so far. Dollars worth, actually, that's crazy. That's crazy. And yeah, I just can't wait for the future. Can't wait to see where it all goes. It's exciting times, once in a lifetime opportunities, and I'm glad that we're here.
Well, and let's see, Etherscan, PulseChain, sacrifice. You can even see what the actual sacrifice address for Etherscan has done. We can maybe look at that at like a second, just to leave at the very end. But when you mention $544 million, and you can see, Ethereum's done over 200 million. What we've seen is some consolidation, right? You see USDC, Tether, DAI. But what we've seen with, say, PulseChain was that, the owner of those private keys for the sacrifice address for PulseChain, they were converting some of those ERC20s into stablecoin. And so what that Richard had mentioned, why would a whale do this? Well, a whale would do that to, protect the purchasing power, especially if they think that it's in a bear market, like the actual ecosystem is a bear market. So it kind of makes sense, but you don't see that same holder or entity doing the same thing with Hex. So it's really price positive for Hex that it's obviously not being sold, right? Like the other ERC20s are.
Yeah, 100%. And the fact that they're like straight being sacrificed, over half of it, over half the dollar worth amount sacrificed on the Ethereum chain is Hex, So it's taking that off the circulation. It's going to be great for the pump, for it to pump versus liquidity now. It's just going to be a great thing. So
let me come back to this Etherscan. I was going to show just the actual Etherscan address. So this is for PulseChain, different than what we just looked at for PulseX. And once again, I wouldn't be sacrificing to this. You're going to be getting a terrible rate. But you can see, how much Hex was sacrificed, taken off the market that we all talk about, or at least kind of like assume, because why would they shoot themselves in the foot? But then once again, converted into DAI. I know there was a whole bunch of USDC that doesn't look like it's in this wallet. They might have, moved it already. But I think it's awesome, man. I think you've got, such prime, times in history and in the market for not only Hexicans that launched at the bottom of the bear market and that did well starting December 2nd, 2019, but now with PulseChain, with PulseX, I think everyone that has sacrificed and even the people that are just getting in after launch, I think people are going to be really happy with their decisions.
Yeah, for sure. If I had one message for everybody out there, it would be that you guys are still early. It is not too late to get into all of this. It's literally just beginning. Like he said, 10,000x. Okay, cool. Bitcoin, what, did millions of X, right? And so 10,000 versus 6.9 million, So you're not late on Hex, for one. You're not late on PulseChain. You're not late on PulseX. All right. And if you don't know all about those, you can do a little bit of research, but I'll tell you right now, you are not late. And yeah, be excited about that, guys, because this is a prime time in history and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, So it's crazy. It's going to be great.
So true. We'll just say what's up to the last few people in the chat and then I'll let everyone get going. Thank you again, man, for coming on. I really, really appreciate your time. And once again, appreciate you, making the streams and the videos too, because I can definitely learn a lot from yourself from these perspectives that I haven't heard before, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes when you're following people that might have been in it as long as you, you can almost get in a echo chamber, or maybe not consider things that the people that are just coming on board or might be more relatively new, what their perspectives are and what they're thinking. So I think it's really cool to hear everything and then be able to establish your opinions.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like I said, I appreciate you having me on. I feel like we've had a like really good discourse over the past few days, you know, on each other's channels. And
Totally
it's just up from here, man. It's just up from here.
It's so true. So we'll cover these last few comments. When do you think the OA will make his move, or make their move on PulseX? So I personally think it's going to be the last few days of the bonding curve. So it looks like February 21st. I'm not going to share the screen because I have Hexelement's social medias we'll share next. But February 21st is when the volume bonus ends. And there's a difference between February 21st, when that ends, and the actual sacrifice phase officially ends, a 4-day split. So between February 21st and February 25th is my guess of when the OA, you know, will most likely sacrifice. I don't see why they wouldn't. They've already done the same thing for, you know, for Hex large supply, and same thing with PulseChain. So Chuck Ray says 100% all in on all 3 heart products. At least one will go to the moon out of 3 offered. I agree. It's the vertical integration that Richard talks about. They're not competing with each other. They're actually benefiting each other. And the ecosystem itself is just really a walled garden that once this happens and once it's, you know, finalized and officialized, you're not going to have any need, man, to go into BSC or Matic or Ethereum and things like this, because the fees are going to be so much more cheaper and quicker with PulseChain. That why wouldn't you be saving your money versus wasting your money with fees over there?
A lot of fees, you know.
Crazy, man. Chuck says law of averages in some huge short-term upside, 3 to 6 months. I agree. $500 million worth of Hex. It's crazy. It's real money and not bullshit legacy finance. That is true. No rehypothecation over here. Hex will moon after sacrifice, I think. Well, and you know, you look at supply and demand, and the demand for Hex is absolutely up there, right? Especially as maybe some of, you know, you mentioned legacy finances, those kind of going, you know, down into the tanker and maybe being overhyped and kind of in a bubble relative to, say, crypto. You look at the rest of crypto and same thing. Bitcoin went from 69,000 to wherever it's at today, 9 months later. Seems like a bear market. So I think that when you've got the same demand that we have for Hex and it's only ever growing because people are hearing about it, then yeah, why wouldn't the price pump up harder than before? Because now there's less supply. So once again, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Mofit Meals by Monica. Diamond and Heart says hello. Good to see you. Human Hex Trafficker. Oh, nice, dude. Gerardo. Hey, good to see you, bro. Gerardo, you know, same thing. He was a guy that, I mean, everyone knows who he is, but did a stream with him and that was really fun. And I know I've been meaning to hit you up, Gerardo, with us doing a stream together, or the next time we do the night stream. I haven't messaged you about the night stream because we're, you know, sometimes like on and off with when that actually happens. So the next time, I promise I'll send you a link and try to give you a heads up. But he does say the USDC is still in the wallet. I must have just not seen it. You just have to tap the little wallet icon to see the holdings for some reason. Okay, thank you. He broke the system, right? He broke the system with how much USDC he has in that PulseChain wallet. Brandon Hexelement, great live show. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for the shout outs as well. Totally. I'm subscribed to you. I'll watch your video later. Hey, Gerardo, call you later this week, Brand. Peace out with my peace out. Love it. Great stream, guys. We're just about to wrap it up. Hey, can't wait to not use Ethereum apart from end staking eHex. I agree.
Facts.
Love saving money, dude. Dude, it's so disgusting, man. There's I forget what the website is, but there's sites where, and I would never connect my actual wallet. I would just put in the, you know, copy and paste the actual wallet address. But you can see, I forget which one, but anyways, you can see what the total amount of Ethereum fees that wallet address is paid. And a lot of people have more wallets than just one address. And so
Yeah.
I see some of the fees that I paid that other people have paid. And, I know people that have paid over, $100,000 just for like ending their stakes or in total of that wallet's history. So for the fact that $100,000 and more actually could be going towards buy pressure and not towards sell pressure on, the Ethereum price and, negativity for the environment, right? It's wasteful. It's proof of waste. I think that you could see a lot of, positive buy pressure and goodness that comes from that.
Yeah, man. I mean, in staking fees make you want to just puke.
Oh, dude. Well, dude, they drastically change from minute to minute. And my brother and I, he's like, Bran, help me end the stake that I had set for him for Christmas. And I try to manually set the Gwei. Dude, it fails a minute later. And it's like $350 stake. And it's like, oof. Because when it fails, you don't get that Ethereum back. And so I was like, man, I should have just went with the recommended. But anyways, there's certain things you can do with that where you can kind of cancel it out. PulseChain podcast, I went on his channel the other day. That's hosted by Matty Crypto. And yeah, that'd be kind of cool for him to have you on or just anyone else on that's kind of, knowledgeable, getting in the community. But
I feel like I know who that is.
Yeah, it's Matty Crypto. Him and I did a video. He's got a main channel too, which is just Matty Crypto. But he's a really good guy.
Okay.
So he says, like Chuck, I'm hard into all three. The amount of value Hex has already given us, we can expect the same from Pulse and PulseX. We have never been in a better place. I agree. Once again, with them being completely deflationary, people don't really understand how quick that can pump the price. And I mean, Hex holders are already set. A lot of them are already set, whether it's Hex or other investments. And so the fact that they don't need to sell, not all of them, but a lot of them, the bigger ones, that's really good for price. Once again, it's the whales holding the price up, pushing the price up with new fiat than it is, your average Joe putting in, 1,000 people putting in a couple $100. Thanks for the great stream, guys. Gerardo's the GOAT, greatest of all time. Keep up the streaming. What's up, everyone around the world? Hexikins, PulseChins, PulseXikins. So that was it. I'm gonna just share your YouTube channel once again. Do go watch the original interview that he had me on his channel, which is right here. Once again, youtube.com/Hexelement. It's in the description. And then same thing with your Twitter. 1 second here. Paste that in there. Once again, twitter.com/Hexelement.
So
Hexelement. What's that?
That bonnet.
Oh, the bonnet, dude. Yeah. I love how many. Did you make that yourself, or did someone else?
Yeah, no, I made it. I make all that. Yeah.
Really? What are you using? Are you using Photoshop or something else?
Yeah, Photoshop. And I use the pen tool to cut out the bonnet that I just cropped from, because Hexologist had that one, but it was kind of, I don't know. I feel like I could have done it better, so I did. Right.
No, dude, I love it, man. Once again, I mean, dude, when I saw your thumbnail from the stream that we were doing on your channel, I was like, man, I it's not that I got some learning to do, but people like yourself and him and whoever else really have a lot of skill in that area. So that is something that I do want to improve on as well. Is the graphics, and Gerardo does some really good graphics too. But that bonnet is it's hilarious, man. I love that.
Yeah, it's funny.
Because in 2017, people were like, oh, Richard, the guy with the candelabra and all these other things, and it whether people like the person or not, it grabs their attention and it sticks in their memory, and so they might hear about it again, maybe from a better perspective the next time, and then they'd be like, oh, the more times that you associate with something or that you hear about it, especially if it's good, generally you're more likely to buy or to involve yourself with that.
Yeah, for sure. Or regurgitate information. You have to read a book 3 times and you miss things in it,
So true. Well, cool,
but
man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on. Last words. I appreciate you having me on, like I said, and we'll do this again sometime, definitely. I'll see all you guys in Vegas. I cannot wait. I'm fanboying over everybody, and I'll see everybody there that's going. It's going to be a great time. Going to do my little vlog and stuff. But I just look forward to the future. Look forward to PulseChain. Look forward to lower gas fees. Look forward to just the community growing in general and, getting our bags. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you again for coming on. Your Twitter profile and YouTube is in there for everyone to follow. So thanks to everyone that was watching live or that is watching this on the replay. And I'll do the intro in just a second.
Sweet, I appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Hexelement.
By my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard.